Increasing urbanization inadvertently leads to increased volumes of garbages within cities. Littering garbage is one of the leading means of destroying environment. Used packaging materials such as plastics, polythene bags, and other garbages affect soil production capacity, drainage systems, but also the growth of vegetation that is an inducement for good climate conditions. However, the garbage that many people see as waste can be well managed for better use. In line with this, Fort Portal Tourism City has taken an initiative towards conserving environment and climate by extension. Laudato Response Youth Initiative talked to Mr. James Mugisha, the manager of Fort Portal Waste Processing Plant, on the importance of garbage collection and how it conserves the environment.
Environmental impact assessment was done by World Bank and NEM. And one of the prerequisites was that you must plant trees, and most especially pine trees. Pine trees produces more oxygen than any other tree. So I'm happy to tell you that where you are now, you're 100% safe because the air you are breathing in is very pure. When you look at my office around there, there is an air detector. So this one tells you the type of quality of the air you are breathing. Number of gases are being produced within the system: methane, ammonia, and other rare gases. So some of these gases which are dangerous, which are being produced within the system, they react with the abundant oxygen which is being produced by these trees, and they are neutralized. So we are 100% safe in terms of air that we breathe in. We have actually 3 sections in our composting site. 1, pre-sorting bay. 2, composting yard. 3, landfill. Then this means we are doing what we call processing of garbage into useful resources. I'm happy even to tell you that what people call garbage to us, it is a resource. So stage 1 is the pre-sorting bay. It involves sorting, which is segregation: plastics, gunny bags, polythene bags, wood waste, garden waste, etc. So when garbage comes from town and it reaches at our gate, there is what we call the dimension of the trucks. This would mean you look at the dimension of the truck in terms of length, width, and garbage height. When you multiply them, you get the volume. After getting the volume, on a monthly basis, all the trucks that carry garbage to the site, they are subjected to weighing bridge. Weigh them when they are empty, weigh them when they are full of garbage. The difference is the mass. So mass over this volume is equal to density. This helps you to determine how much waste do you receive per day, per week, per month, and then annually. So if I tell you we receive maybe 140 tons of garbage per day, I base my argument on those factors. And you could have noticed a difference between the garbage which is in town and the other one which is here. Now the garbage which is in town, you just meet one truck carrying garbage from town, smelling, stinking, and all sorts of odor. But here it is the other way around. You have tons and tons of garbage, but there is what we call culture addition. With the culture addition, you get cow dung, you mix it with water, you splash it over the fresh waste that has been delivered to the site. 30 minutes later, no flies and no smell. So sorting begins the next day. In the culture addition, they are what we call pathogens, microbes, fungi, azotobacter, bacteria. These are micro-living organisms. And now you are adding an element of water which contains hydrogen. The reaction takes place. So this one is in a position to chase away the flies and the smell. So sorting begins. Sorting is segregation. And when garbage is just being offloaded on stage 1, before it is sorted and culture addition is done, there is water that is oozing out of the garbage. This water that oozes out of the garbage is called leachate. And if it is not treated properly, it can become an environmental hazard. Much as we control it and harvest it, something to decompose it must be wet. So we use harvested water into the decomposing material using a leachate pump. We use a leachate pump, harvest leachate water into the decomposing material. The fact that something to decompose must be wet, then you must wet it using the leachate water. And the watering is done in stage 2, where there is what you call compositing. Now when you are compositing, any material that comes to stage 2, these are materials that can decompose. And the materials that go to stage 3, these are materials that don't decompose but are also very important. I'm happy to tell you that what people call garbage to us, it is a resource. How resourceful is it? Plastics. They are recycled to make either, these plastic bottles, you recycle them to make carpets, shoes, plastic bumpers for vehicles, chairs, these plastic chairs you are seeing around, jerry cans, basins, and other bottles, plastic bottles. So that is recycling. 2, when you go to organic chemistry, and most especially straight chain chemistry, there is what we call polymerization. When you pick these polythene bags, we have polythene bags of 30 microns and above. You put them in a machine, it washes them. After washing them, then it sends them to another machine which produces heat. When you heat these polythene bags, they coagulate, they cool down slowly. Then you add another chemical called chrono. Now when you add a chemical called chrono, it cools down slowly and remains in liquid form. You pack it in drums. After packing it in drums, incidentally, when maybe you are driving during the sunny day, you are following some of these heavy trucks loaded with some goods. If it turns maybe on a roundabout like this, you see the road turning black. Then this means that the tar that was used was made out of these polythene bags. 2, now if you wash them and heat them, you add another chemical, not chrono, this time called acetol. It coagulates. This means it hardens slowly. When it hardens, the plastic parts of vehicles, plastic parts of phones, cameras, TVs, radios, all those plastic parts, they are made, including even insulators for electricity and pipes for water. These plastic pipes, they are made from those ones. So, in short, all materials that come with garbage, they are very important. Then we can look at these bags. When you buy charcoal, you get these bags and you throw them away. For us, we collect them. Covers for trucks, lorries, trailers, those ones which they use to cover their goods so that rain does not enter. They are made from those ones. Alternatively, you can chop them and make some other bags from them. So they are important. Go to these boxes. You've seen these trays for eggs. Yes. They are made from those boxes. You know charcoal briquettes, which they use for cooking. Yes. They are also made from those ones. Flash doors, ceiling boards, they are also made from those boxes. But when someone buys maybe a radio and gets these boxes, he throws them away. So then the garden waste, when we move down to stage 2, that's the process where we make compost, organic manure. It is arranged in a certain site, as we shall move down and see, in certain angles. So you move from stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. We have even machines. We have a digital thermometer, oxygen meter for monitoring the temperatures. The temperatures from stage 1, they range from 60 to 70 degrees centigrade. This means they are higher temperatures, of which some of these micro-living organisms, which are important for compositing, they may not survive under higher temperatures, so they will die. And you are aware.
The garbage?
Yeah, in the garbage, when you are compositing it into manure, organic manure, so they will die. So when they die, meat is the source of nitrogen. So at the end of it, that's how you find that our organic manure is rich in nitrogen component, which is paramount for plant growth. 2, there are micro-living organisms which will survive under higher temperatures, but they will not survive under lower temperatures. We've already said that for something to decompose, then it must be wet. We are harvesting leachate water using a leachate pump into the decomposing material. Leachate is something which is like water that is oozing out of the decomposing garbage. So if you are taking this garbage, this leachate into the decomposing material, then that would mean the temperatures will lower down. From 60 to 70 degrees, it will come to 40 to 50. These are lower temperatures. What happens when you've been diagnosed with malaria and you are taking some medicine, but the temperatures remain high? You get a towel, you put it in water, you cool down the temperatures. Now, it is the same thing. So when you add water, the temperatures come down. When the temperatures are lowered, then the micro-living organisms that have survived the higher temperatures will not survive the lower temperatures. They will also die and form part of the nitrogen component in our organic manure. So the process goes like that. However, from stage 1 to stage 3, This is where the micro-living organisms are very active, breaking down these materials into smaller particles that can easily decompose. Much as we need them, they are disease-causing organisms, and that's why we're exterminating them. Tentatively, if we are doing what we call vermicomposting, we would have to breed these micro-living organisms so that we harvest them and use them for making piglet feeds and chicken feeds. But we are not doing that because the conditions for the World Bank was that we do compositing. So we exterminate them to form the nitrogen component in our organic manure. So at the end of it all, when you look at the organic manure which is being produced, we sieve it so that you don't take in other impurities. And when we look at the sieving mesh, it has gauges, meaning that the atoms, molecules, elements and compounds, they all pass through. So the bigger the particles, the longer the duration period of this compost in your garden in case you buy it.
Okay. So in simple, what is the importance, what would you say is the importance of this dumping site?
There are a variety of them.
One, this environment, like Poto City.
One, Poto town is said to be the cleanest town in Uganda as we talk now.
Yes.
It is because of this project.
Yes.
Two, sanitation and health. You must live, everybody is entitled to live in a clean and environment.
Yes.
Then three, employment. Then four, it's a learning center for some of these students.
Yes, yes.
Some of these university students doing what you call agriculture in terms of economic land use. They must come here. Those ones who are doing public health, they come here. Project planning, research, they all end up here. So it is a learning center. And four, well, we are trying to protect the production of greenhouse gases, methane, ammonia, argon, and other rare gases. These are the gases that move up to destroy the ozone layer if garbage is not properly managed. We are controlling them to zero. So the environment is harmonized and safe.
Okay. So currently we have a challenge of climate change.
Yes, please.
Yes, caused by destruction of natural
resources
and other things.
Yes, please.
So what would you advise as an expert in this area?
Now, we are saying if garbage is properly managed, these challenges may not emerge. One, if you get these boxes, you make charcoal briquettes, then that means you are not going to buy charcoal. You are not going to cut trees to make charcoal. Then two, if you are doing what we call qualitative and quantitative economics, economic land use, doing agriculture on a small piece of land and harvesting more using organic manure, then that means you will be economically independent. If you are economically independent, then you may not be in a position to go and look for firewood, charcoal. You become a class above the ordinary. You'll be looking for gas, methane gas, to go and use it for cooking. So if you are economically empowered, then you are not in a position to go and destroy the environment.
Okay. So we understand this is a recycling plant.
Yes, please.
So recycling plants meaning that they already use the products or materials, like the papers, polythene, and bottles can be reused again.
Yes, please.
Reprocessed and reused again.
Yes.
So what would you advise in line with that?
You see, garbage is
because other people don't, recycle, don't have that knowledge, or they don't do that.
Yes.
So
a number of people don't look at garbage as a resource.
Yes.
So if you start looking at it as a resource, maybe you can start sorting from homes.
Yes.
And then collection starts with every individual.
Yes.
If you sort the plastics at the homestead, then you can fetch some money. But incidentally, our people just throw them. They think garbage is garbage, then it must be thrown randomly, as it is, which is contrary to the rules and regulations of NEM. So if it is properly controlled, people are empowered with knowledge, and they are looking at it as a resourceful thing. Then employment is created, and then they save some money, which would be used to other activities.
So as a person who has been engaged in this recycling plant and the process really generally of conserving the environment, so what would you point out as some of the effects of those people who are not doing this kind of work of making sure they collect these garbages, then put them to places where they're supposed to be put, like here?
The challenge we have is that people's attitude towards waste is negative, including even the politicians.
Okay.
I did environmental engineering in Russia for 4 years.
Yes.
I went to India and did agriculture for 3 years.
Oh.
So when someone finds in garbage, they will not be ashamed of even asking you whether you know English.
Okay.
So even if you tell someone to come and pick compost, organic manure free of charge,
Yes.
they will not pick. They will say, I threw away garbage, so I'm not in a position to go and pick garbage again.
Okay.
So the politicians, I think, they have a role to play to tell the masses the importance of garbage in homesteads and in solid waste management at large. Okay. So everybody should be part and parcel to spread the gospel about solid waste management. Yes. And if everybody is touched and feels the impact, then garbage will no longer be a big challenge to the societies where we live. Okay. Because it is a resource.
Okay. So, as we conclude,
yes, please.
So, as an expert who has been really dealing in this kind of work of conserving the environment,
yes, please.
What other means would you point out as the ways to try and conserve the environment, protect the climate, so that we can avert the dangers?
Knowledge is wealth, and at the same time it is power.
Yes.
So if people are empowered with the knowledge, then they will be in a position to achieve whatever they want to achieve. And very many people don't know that garbage is a resource you can earn a living. It creates employment, it creates revenue, then it is a learning center. So all these factors coupled together, they make a very better environment for everybody to enjoy. Okay, thank you very much.
Like other undertakings, garbage management has a prerequisite too. As explained by Mr. Mugisha, for one to establish waste processing plant, he or she must first plant trees around the site. As it is said, everything is useful in its own way. The garbage has been put into use by processing products such as carpets, plastic chairs, bottles, and jerry cans. Garbage is also used as a raw material for processing manure.
So this is the organic manure. This is the garbage that you pick from town. This is the reserve.
Okay. So this is the process already?
This is already processed, ready to be taken to the gardens. In fact, when it is ready, there's what you call compost analysis.
Yes.
You pick some samples randomly from where it is produced, take them in the lab,
yes,
test the pH, the NPK, you get the results. That's when you, after getting the results, that's when you are supposed to put it on market.
What is PK?
NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, manganese, zinc, and iron. All these materials, all these minerals, they are important for plant growth, and they are just within that one. So this is what we call the lichet. We've been talking about this one. Okay. Much as it is called lichet, it is as good as liquid manure. You know, you am told.
Yes, I'm told.
Now, the water that oozes out of the fresh waste, garbage, is as good as liquid manure. And in this case, you can call it tonto. You know tonto?
Yes, yes.
Tonto mwengebugere and then
yes, local brew.
So this one which is oozing out of the fresh waste is as good as juice.
Okay.
So this one which has gone through fermentation, this is tonto because it has some elements of compositing. So this is the liquid manure.
Okay, liquid manure.
Yeah, this is liquid.
So how do they use it?
You can just apply it in the garden.
Apply in the garden?
Yeah.
Like you are sprinkling water?
Yeah. And the good thing is that it even detoxifies the soils. Some of these soils, like where people have been growing tea, tea production,
yes,
they usually use what we call fertilizers. And with fertilizers, after every cropping season, they are what we call toxins that remain in the soil. How do you detoxify these toxins? You add this liquid manure. Oh, okay. So where there is an area where you've been planting using fertilizers, you can't plant anything before you use the fertilizer. But now what usually happens is that the moment you add this liquid manure, then the toxins from the soils, they are detoxified. They are no longer effective. So you can grow whatever you want to grow.
Let's all embrace what Fort Portal City is doing, because this is what we need. We need to be united to manage, and there are very many people to guide you. You actually need to get time and come and visit this place. You're going to learn a lot of things.